So if you're just starting out and you're fortunate enough to have £30,000 to invest in property, what should you do? Well, that's what this video is going to tackle. I'm Susannah. I run The Good Property Company, fabulous online website full of downloadable information for you, all about finding deals, investors, getting started and flipping, and also the YouTube channel. So click like, subscribe, and have a really good look at the playlist. There's loads of videos there to help you out. But today we're going to tackle this fortunate position you find yourself in, and well done you, that's fabulous, that you've got £30,000 to invest in property. What should you do and how should you go about it? So first, a little congratulations for being in your situation. Lots of people start in property without any money at all. So you're kind of ahead of the game. You've got a beautiful head start. So whether you've worked super hard for it, you've saved up, or maybe you've been really honored by somebody gifting you this money, congratulations for your super position. And if it's because you've been gifted the money, let's honor those people by doing great by it, and let's honor your hard work as well by really taking this money and really making it work for you, shall we? However, I've now done over £45 million worth of property, over 200 deals. We did that in 4.5 years in Bristol. So we kind of really know a thing or two about property, bought, sold, flipped, built a significant property portfolio. Now live here, part in Barcelona, near the sea, part in Bristol. I'm going to give you some real simple tips from my own point of view on what you should or shouldn't do with that £30,000. Tip number 1 is a surprise. Don't use all of it. Huh? I've got £30,000. That's not, it's amazing, but it's not enormous. No, don't use all of it. I think property can, well, I know property can suck up money, and you want to keep a bit of a buffer at times for those emergency cases. So decide how much of the £30,000 needs to be set aside for that emergency buffer. Basically, we're talking about your safety net, aren't we? And I like you to keep maybe 10-15% aside for that buffer. It's your safety net. It keeps you sleeping when the going gets tough. So now you're down to 25 grand with a 5k buffer. Second tip is invest in some education. It doesn't need to be super expensive. Definitely don't blow your whole budget. But if you have this one marvelous, wonderful, exciting, brilliant opportunity, don't blow it by making rookie beginner mistakes when you don't know what to do. So invest in some good quality, solid education that will help you understand the simple step-by-step processes for you to be successful in property. Go to my website, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. I've got superb education ready for you to go. But you can start with free, can't you? You've got all the playlists on this YouTube channel. Then you can start with small. I got packs on my website, which you can download. And also I've got videos on the YouTube channel suggesting book lists. You can do some of the webinars. I've got immediate on-demand webinars, which are again free. Or you can decide to invest in one of my 60-day academies, which is absolutely superb and has taken everything from my 15-year career, £45 million worth of property, and put into 4 absolutely superb academies for you. What you mustn't do is start without educating yourself to the point you're competent to spend that 25 grand with your 5 grand safety net. Ready for next tip? You may decide that you don't want to start with rental. You may decide that you want to start with flipping. Well, that's a fabulous strategy as well. Absolutely brilliant strategy. But what I don't want you to do is go, I'll do a bit of this, a bit of that, and a bit of the next thing. No. Do one investing strategy, whether it's a buy to keep or a buy to sell strategy, and get very, very good at it. So within buy to keep, buy to let, you have one clear strategy that you are going to rinse and repeat, get really, really good at, and go again and again. No shiny penny syndrome for you, one clear strategy. Your next tip is, okay, all of that is going to suck up loads of cash. So you need to bring in a cash generating strategy. Now for me, I brought in 2. I did deal packaging. So finding discounted deals, matching them with investors, getting paid a fee. Fastest I got paid was 4 days. Usually it's about 8 to 10 weeks. And then the investors go off with the deals. And that brought me in cash, which allowed me to buy more properties. Or alternatively, you can do a flipping strategy. And again, I did that. And mainly in the early days, I flipped with JV partners, which meant that they did the funding, I did the work, we split the profit 50-50. So the downside to me was I only got half the profit. The upside to me was I didn't put any of my own cash in. So in the early days, as you grow, that cash generating strategy can be really, really useful. So you want an investing strategy, a buy to sell, and also a cash generating strategy, all within your overall set out your strategy. Yeah, good tip. But whatever your strategy is, it needs to fit who you are and what your goal is. You are either going to be an empire builder and you're going to end up like, I need to buy £10 billion worth of property and I want to buy 180 flats at once. And I salute the empire builders of this world. The energy, the chutzpah, the confidence, go for it. Or, like me, you may know that for you, life is super important. You know, my family life, my friends' life, my own personal life, my health life, my sports life, my social life, you know, I live here in Barcelona. I'm 9 minutes from the beach. I also live in Bristol, by the way. This is bought for cash, so I don't even have any outgoings apart from the usual bills. And I walk to the beach every day and go for a swim in the sea, often twice a day. I eat beautiful food. I have a chilled way of living here. I love it. So I am a lifestyle investor. You know, you choose. Are you an empire builder or a lifestyle investor? Make sure your strategy delivers to who you are and what you want out of property. So in setting out your strategy, know who you are. What is it that you personally want to achieve? How old are you at the moment? When do you want to retire, if we can call it retirement? How much do you want to live on now? How much do you want to live on in the future? How much do you want to give in generational wealth? How much do you want to be financially free with houses paid off? I've got a lot of houses paid off, including this one. How much loan to value do you want to be? Start to be specific about your plan because it's going to really help you with the next stages. Know who you are, know what you want. Don't think it's not possible. Just go, this is what I want and how do I work backwards to achieve it? Because it is possible. So we've now given you the outline, but I haven't yet told you how to move forward, and let's do that now. But first, let me recap. We've said that we want you to have one investing strategy and know the kind of product you're going to invest in. For me, it was HMOs and student HMOs. And you rinse and repeat. And then you need to bring in a second cash generating strategy to increase that pot, whether it's going to be flipping, whether it's going to be deal sourcing. Some people do rent to rent. I don't really like you doing rent to rent. And there's a reason for that. There's lots of downsides to you and not many upsides. So the upside is the cash. Basically what you do is you rent a property from a landlord, you then rent it out to other people, and the difference is the cash you make. So in an ideal world, you rent it from the landlord at this level, you rent it to other people at this level, and here's your cash. Sounds great. However, there's 3 problems there. Number 1, you have to pay the landlord whether the tenants pay you or not. So you are not doing what Richard Branson does, which is protect the downside. You're in fact opening the downside up to problems for you. Number 2, the capital gains is not yours, it's the landlord's. And actually in property, you get enormously wealthy through capital gains, through the growth in the value of the property. And then number 3, time. Time is the biggest game changer in property. So instead of you finding discounted deals or investors or, you know, moving forward with flipping or deal sourcing, you're talking to tenants about light bulbs. No, it's your responsibility to change the light bulb. So rent to rent, because you're basically a glorified letting agent with guarantees to the landlord without the capital gains growth, is a time suck that I don't want you to do in your business. But let me bring another strategy in over and above deal sourcing and flipping that could really boost that 30k, and that is options. I like you to use options, what I would term properly, not just to buy a house, but where you're buying land. Now let me give you this strategy, because you are going to need to boost that 30k, aren't you? And I did this. I did this beautifully, and you can rinse and repeat. Look for large gardens on corner plots. Often they're in local authority areas where people have now bought their own houses. Often people are getting a little bit older, and often people don't have the pension they maybe need to retire on. Plus, that's a heck of a big garden. You're getting a little bit physically older. You don't really want to have to manage that big garden. Because of housing, it's very likely that you will be able to split the title of that garden and then put a planning permission for another property in that garden. Now, the person that owns the property has maybe bought it from the council. They probably don't know about that strategy. They maybe don't have the money. They don't want to take the risk. What you would do is go meet them, talk to them, see whether this would suit them. You know, you'd get extra money for your pension pot, and plus you don't have to look after the garden anymore, and get a lease option, and then you go get outline planning permission. It cost me less than 2,000 quid, guys. To put planning in the garden, you sell it and you split the profit 50-50. So effectively it's a joint venture, but not one where you have to do lots of building work, but one where you simply work with a tidy architect to get outline planning permission and you sell it. And I'm telling you, when you're selling plots at like 80 grand to depends on the garden, 200 grand, you're going to have people jumping to buy them because that's quite affordable for loads of builders to build out one house. If you were to do that strategy again and again, on the 80 grand model, you'd get 40 grand profit, minus the cost, so probably about 37 grand profit. On the 200 grand model, you'd get like 97 grand or 95 grand profit. So suddenly your 30 grand has increased through flipping, through deal sourcing, or through do garden lease options. Plus you've still got your little bit of safety. And you've set out a strategy, oh, I'm going to reinvest in property on one type, but I also need a cash generating strategy at the same time. Loads of great ideas in property, aren't there? All achievable, all manageable, all that you can do. So with your 25 grand, you've now got an option to buy a small property, flip on a small property, joint venture flip on a larger property with none of your own money, deal source to make more cash, or do lease options on gardens for planning permission. And why do I like the lease options on gardens for planning permission? Well, it doesn't cost very much. It cost me less than 2 grand. There are loads of people with big gardens. Not many people know about the strategy or are doing it. You are benefiting the owner, and you're benefiting you. It's big money quite quickly because you normally would put that into auction, so you sell it really fast. And there are so many people looking out for plots that, and the market is very dry of those plots, you're going to have loads of people either bidding or being desperate to buy. So I've given you lots of ways to increase your 30 grand, haven't I? As well as having you set out what your personal strategy is going to be. So we talked about cash generating strategies, deal sourcing, garden lease options, JV flipping, yeah? But your goal is probably to give up the day job. It definitely was mine. But I'm going to say it straight to you. If you're sitting with 30 grand, which we've reduced to 25 because we've put 5 grand aside just for safety, I don't want you at this stage to give up the day job. I know, I'm really sorry, but you are going to need to have that day job if you're earning over £25,000 a year in order to secure mortgages until you're considered an experienced landlord. So let's go straight into, Suze, I don't want to do any of those cash generating things. I just want to take my 30 grand and I want to buy a property. Okay, let me give you an example. We set 5 grand aside, and normally you're going to get about 75% loan to value. You can get up to 85% loan to value. What does that mean? If the property's being bought for 100 grand, at 75% loan to value, you're going to get 75 grand. For mortgage, you need to put in 25. You've got 25. At 85% loan to value, if the property's worth being bought for 100, you're going to get 85 grand mortgage, so you're going to put in 15 grand. Aha! You've now got 15 grand spare, not 30. So I want you to, probably these days in Bristol, at 100 grand, you'd be buying something like a studio apartment. Now, I never want you to buy it if it's at the value. I always want you to buy it only if it's discounted. So in Bristol at the moment, it would be a studio apartment. It would be worth around 140,000. You're going to buy it for 100. You decide whether you get a 75 or an 85% loan to value mortgage. I like 75%. You put in 25 grand, you give it a lick of paint. It is worth 140. So you go back 6 months later and you say, hey, I was really lucky. I found myself a discounted property, and remember, I've got loads and loads of videos for you on how to find those discounted properties. It's actually worth 140. So now, can you please give me 75% of the actual value of the property, which is 140, and they're going to give you a little bit over £100,000 in mortgages. So now you've been able to pull all your cash back out. This is called BRRR, buy, renovate, rent out and refinance, and you can take your 30 grand back or your 25 grand back and go buy the same again. The only difficulty for you with the 25 grand with the 5 grand set aside is you'll only be able to buy small properties these days, and typically studios or 1-bed flats are lower yielding than HMOs and larger houses. So I would like you to take your buy, refurb, renovate and refinance model, but also bring in one of the 3 cash generating strategies I said, flipping, joint venturing, or deal sourcing, or joint venturing lease options with the land model to increase your cash pot at the same time. Because the higher profits, I mean, I make well over £1,000 a month on my HMOs, will be much higher profit than you will on a studio apartment. So there you are. 3 cash strategies, 1 buy to keep strategy with some sensible advice about keeping money aside to get you going on your 30 grand. And I hope you found this video super useful. If you have, be a sweetheart, put comments in below. I answer them every now and again. It's great fun seeing what you guys are asking me. Hit the like and the subscribe button, but also have a good look at my website. It's a fantastic website for you. And in the little bit that follows, I'm going to give you an opportunity to download something or enjoy something. But the most important thing is that you get going and you take action. And for that, I wish you every success. So good luck to you. Sourcing discounted deals, it is the basis of all property wealth. I have written a pack for you guys. You can download it right now. 45 million quid's worth of property, agreed sourcing price for 30 million quid. All that information in that pack.